January. I was on Cleveland Avenue, a few miles north of the Jewish Community Center in St. Paul. I wasn't thinking about miracles, spring, or even the holiday called Tu B'Shvat. While I'd been in Minnesota 7 years, I was still not used to driving on icy roads, and that day the ice was especially treacherous. I was supposed to be at the center in 15 minutes for a Tu B'Shvat meal, celebrating the day spring begins in Israel by eating Israeli nuts and fruits. I had volunteered to help serve the children in my son's class, and I didn't want to be late. Like most moms with a working life, I was never quite on time when I should be, but I was still trying not to speed. Not that it was snowing. It had to warm up first, but since there was a lot of snow on the ground, the temperature had plunged below zero and made almost everything a solid sheet of white. Yet we were celebrating the time when sap begins to run inside Israel's trees, as Jews have apparently for 2,000 years, or at least since the diaspora began. I was concentrating so hard on driving, I barely registered the ambulance stopped at a corner, perpendicular to the intersection I was approaching. Was I supposed to slow down, or was that just when they're alongside you? Growing up in New York and New Jersey, I didn't have much cause to drive, and only really learned how when I moved to the Midwest. I'd started out with a blue Nissan Sentra that I quickly fell in love with. But after Nate's dad and I divorced, I totaled the car on I-94 when the driver ahead of me jammed on her brakes. At this point, I was driving a bright red Toyota, which had never felt quite right. It was much lighter than the Sentra and seemed prone to skidding no matter what I did. Because I bought the car during the summer, I had no inkling of how susceptible it was to winter winds and snow. The car was so light, I jokingly called it Little Feather. And that's just how it felt when I stepped on the brake to avoid the ambulance. Skidding. Left, right, left again. Before I knew it, I was sailing up, over the curve and onto the lawn of a vanilla stucco house at breakneck speed. In less than a split second, I was driving toward 2 trees, and it seemed very clear I was going to hit them. Crooked Lines, A Single Mom's Jewish Journey by Jenna Zark. Read by Lori Flanagan Heggie.